At what moment did you realize you were dating an idiot? We were driving around this weird part of Las Vegas and I said, "This is surreal." He said, "I know. It's so real." I repeated, "Surreal," and he repeated, "So real." Asked him what event resulted in World War I. His response was 9-11. He was serious. We were watching Django. And during the winter training montage there is a moment where the camera pans over a herd of reindeer. At that moment my ex said something about how she thought it was weird that they would include reindeer in the movie because it kind of breaks the immersion. I was confused and asked what she meant by that. When she flipped out because her third grader came home with erect on a spelling list and was on the verge of calling the school. She honestly had lived her entire life not knowing erect had any other use aside from describing a penis. I dated a guy for about a month until I found out that he didn't realize that women's breasts made actual milk to feed their babies. He thought breastfeeding was just a way to hold a baby while giving it a bottle. I told him he was an idiot and he said, with a disgusted sneer, "I didn't know that because I have never known any woman who had or would breastfeed their child." I told him that I had breastfed my son and he called me a child molester. When she thought I was crazy for putting Pop-Tarts in a toaster. Or maybe it was the time she tried making hamburger helper for the first time at 27 years old and called me from the store to ask where they sold the brown hamburger meat. I'm wasting away to nothing. Send help. Oh, I almost forgot the best part. She's teaching your children right now in a public school. First time was when he told my parents he was a vegetarian because he eats everything. The same guy told me that the bumps on the side of the highway are so blind drivers know when they run off the road. Ah. High school boyfriends. He was hot though. The moon is so beautiful tonight. That's a street light. I had been dating this girl for a few months and it was Christmas time. We weren't super serious but it was serious enough that I was buying her Christmas presents. I found something for her that was perfect and it had a connection to some funny event involving her and my cat. So I made the present from the cat. I thought I was being cute and she would make the connection. Instead, she got pissed that my cat got her a present and I didn't. I thought she was joking. To make matters worse, we were at her parents' place and they backed her up. It was extremely awkward and I realized it wasn't going to work out. Cats A, don't have money. B, don't give a FCK about you even if they did. When I was helping her with geography homework and she couldn't point out our own country on the map. When she pointed up at a bluish star and sincerely asked, "Is that Earth?" When she surprised me by inviting her mother on our 16-day Hawaiian cruise. She got me Mad Libs and when it was her turn to do a noun she asked, "What is a noun?" I said it's a person, place, or thing. There was a long silence as she thought. It went on for so long that I thought she must be thinking of the best noun I had ever heard. Then she said place. She told me with a straight face that our horoscopes had changed and it was a bad idea to be together. Well, at least she was right. Back in college, I saw a fleur-de-lis tattoo on the girl's butt for the first time. Me. What made you decide to get a fleur-de-lis tattoo on your ass? Huh? I don't know. I wanted something tribal. In high school I was in an extracurricular program after school. There was one portion of it that was pretty much all girls. I dated a girl from this portion all throughout high school. I went to all of their events and helped out. I always wondered why none of the other girls or their parents really talked to me. Right before we graduated I brought it up to her and she told me that she told all of them that I was physically and verbally abusive all the time. When I asked her why, she told me it was so no one else would steal me away from her. I broke up with her shortly after. When I saw her water her plastic plant for the third time. Edit. Dunno. The first 2 times I was sort of stunned and curious. The second time she actually said, "The water goes right through." She kept trying to put food inside the rolling pin and then trying and flatten it by just rolling it around. I King swear to God I'm not making this up. Back in 2006 my ex-wife fell for the Nigerian prince scam and gave out our bank account number. A roommate of mine was dating this girl. Very cute. Super sweet. We were all in the living room watching another roommate play Call of Duty World at War. It was still new at the time. She eventually asks if this was based on a true story. We reply that although the specific characters likely didn't exist, the game was based on World War II. Her response: "What's World War II? Are you serious? It was World War King too." At one point, she even said it's not like everyone knows about it. Yeah. Katie. The whole world knows about it. It was a world war. And not the first one. Either. When he said the color orange didn't exist. Because it was really just pink and red mixed together. Why do people keep going to knife point? Was on a hike and was following a trail I had read up on online. We get to a fork and I say okay now we need to go north. She says haven't we been this whole time? Full stop. Confused. I look at her and ask why she says that. She replies north is the direction in front of you, yeah? Still not entirely sure about the origins of that logic. In my defense, this was back in 2004. I found it charming and endearing that he did funny voices, made funny idiosyncratic jokes, occasionally called me M-Lady. Then I saw Anchorman. Oh my god, he literally was doing a 24/7 Ron Burgundy impression, eclipsing his entire personality. I'm not sure I ever really met him. We were 16 at the time and went to go have sex. I realized I didn't have any condoms and then's when she told me I didn't need one because I trust my body not to get pregnant. I asked her what she was talking about and she told me it takes conscious effort to become pregnant and if she didn't want to be she would never conceive. When we got into a legit argument over how many years there are in a decade. Baby. If you are reading this, there are only 10 years in a decade. Not 12. That the past was black and white. My ex for 4 years. When she considered it not cheating to have sex with a woman. Because there's no dick inside of her. Bitch. It's still cheating. I told her a story about my childhood. 2 weeks later. She told it for me. But this time it was her childhood. Your girlfriend was Reddit? Girl I dated for 5 years thought Al Qaeda was a lone terrorist named Al. Convinced the same girl that Whoopi Goldberg was married to Gerard Depardieu. As in her full name is Whoopi Doopy-Doo. She tried to argue that we could get to the moon easier if we just built a spaceship that could go underwater. And flew it through the ocean to the moon during the daytime rather than straight up. My god. Someone get NASA on the phone. When she told me that babies could only happen if there were love. Is she in Congress? He shot himself in the leg twice while cleaning it. The same gun. 2 weeks apart. Edit. Sorry. Yes. Cleaning the gun. 9mm. Shot himself in the calf the first time. Then took out his kneecap the second time. Same leg. Took months of surgeries to fix it. We were at a restaurant and she saw a picture of a buffalo and said I wanna eat that pig. I was dying laughing. Probably one of the funniest people I've dated. But definitely wasn't too sharp. My ex thought that whenever I missed his call, the phone would still be ringing even after it went to voicemail. I got at least 3 voicemails a week that consisted of silence and the odd annoyed, impatient sigh. I showed my wife this thread and she reminded me that I used to think yeast infections were a result of eating too much bread. Yeah. My ex-GF is 5 feet 4 and petite. She wouldn't eat all day and have 3 martinis and black out. She would then claim she was allergic to alcohol. She thought Scotland was its own island. As in separated by water. We live 30 minutes from the border. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Cheers guys for my highest voted comment. Saw a few questions. We live on the east of England. And some guy thought it was from someone outside of Europe. We have both lived in England our entire lives. Which makes this even more shameful. When she tried to convince me that the Pacific Ocean was fresh water, he insisted that women cannot be doctors, only nurses, and vice versa. He said that the two are the exact same thing except one is male and one is female. Edit. He was in his early 20s. All dogs are boys and all cats are girls. OBV. When she told me that she'd never been to France, I knew for a fact she went to Disneyland Paris every year. Paris isn't in France. She insisted. Edit. We live in the UK. Not USA or somewhere else. You can literally drive to France. Edit 2. Okay. So you can literally drive onto a train which takes you to France. There are a fair amount of French people who would agree with her. She told me her most common password was very secure because it was a bunch of random numbers. We were texting back and forth and she said she was obsessed with Bon Jovi. I realized that it was a typo and asked why she was upset with Bon Jovi and she said no. I love him. He thought the Nation of Islam was a place. When I explained to him this was not the case, he responded with, agree to disagree. Oh wow. Halloween is on Friday the 13th this year. No. No it's not. Is that an albino duck? That's a dove. When I told her that not every country celebrates the 4th of July or Thanksgiving luckily she left me for a crackhead named Brad and told everyone that I finish quickly in bed. Not me but a friend, I swear. Close bracket. We were in a vacation camp for 15-20 year olds. Naturally we started drinking and talking about sex. After about 30 seconds of silence after someone finished their story, my friend went, wait, women can have orgasms too? His girlfriend was present. The relationship didn't last long. When she thought flashing red lights on the road, as in traffic lights blinking red, meant you were entering a different time zone instead of indicating a stop sign. Edited for clarity. Edit. Backstory. This was in NW, Indiana. We were in college. I was doing my student teaching and had told some of the kids that I would go to the full play. But I had broken my right ankle. So she drove us. She dropped this knowledge on me on the way there. I was dumbfounded. I can't get my girlfriend to understand that Celsius and Fahrenheit are the same thing. She thinks Celsius is cold and Fahrenheit is hot. He truly believed that you regrow your virginity after 6 months of no sex. Edit. This was a conversation we had a year in, so no. This wasn't the first indicator of idiocy with two of our friends. His belief had nothing to do with the hymen or religious constructs. He just thought 6 months of no sex equals poof virginity. My girlfriend at the time genuinely believed that it was the headless horseman that ran through Lexington and Concord shouting the British are coming. The British are coming. Shouting with what? Exactly? She argued with me for 30 minutes that Africa was one country. We were out to dinner and he was reading the menu and he said, what's a green bean? Full stop. Excuse me? You don't know what a green bean is? He said no. Like I know what a green bean is but what is it? Same guy. I have rabbits and one of them hopped by him in the living room and he said, oh my god, what's wrong with him? I said nothing. What do you mean? He said, why is he jumping like that? Did he hurt his legs? He had never seen a rabbit hop. He thought they walked like cats. Lol WTF, the thought of a rabbit walking like a cat totally gave me the heebie-jeebies. She was out for a run one day and when she came back she said an animal charged at her. So she cut her run short. I asked her what it looked like. And she said, like a cow. But brown. It was a cow. That's a chocolate milk cow. Black and white cows turn all black when they're out of milk and slowly get white patches as they fill back up. Edit. Sweet holy crap on kickstand. This post exploded. Thanks for the generosity as well. Who'd have thought some silly crap my old man told me when I was a little fart sniffer would have gotten so much attention. Edit 2. Old man called preteens fart sniffers cause they were about the right height. Finals week. He finally tells me he's failing. Algebra, not even real algebra. Business algebra. In college. I offer to help him study for his final and he laughs at me and goes, "What could you possibly know about math?" I was studying engineering. Driving down the road and the moon is visible during the day. Huh? How is the moon out at the same time as the sun? Me. Sometimes that happens. It's not that uncommon. Huh? No, they are the same thing, so how can we see both at the same time? Me. Dot. The sun and the moon are two different things. Are you serious? Huh? Yay. Not everyone went to college like you, schoolboy. Me. You learn this in like 2nd grade. She was in her early 30s. I've had a very similar conversation with a friend of a friend. She also wouldn't fly at night because the plane might hit the stars during the trip and she didn't want to risk it. She claimed that some things didn't have a temperature. Well, that's true actually. You've never heard of taking someone's temperature? You think they still have a temperature after it's been taken? Who's the idiot now? After a few dates she came over to my place. And she made fun of how many books that I had. When he told me, quite seriously, about how people with enough willpower can survive by photosynthesis. I have to leave now. Level 24 vegan. Boyfriend took me to a fancy restaurant and we ordered wine. When the waiter came back, he gave my BF the cork to sniff. My BF grabbed it, sucked on it and licked it like a lollipop, all excited, while the waiter looked uncomfortable. Poured our glasses and slunk away. I can't decide if this is idiocy or comedic genius. Thought that you had to rev it into the red to change gear on a car. Had no idea how roundabouts worked. Thought you drive around the opposite direction and didn't know you had to give way, yet still criticized my driving, whilst not even taking the test. We're English. Most cars are manual. At least for a first car. We were watching a movie together when he asks, "Where is this movie filmed?" To which I answer, "Massachusetts." He says, "Oh." Later in the movie a cop car that says Boston Police Department appears on screen. He turned and looked at me with a gotcha kinda look in his eyes and said, "HA. Massachusetts? It's in Boston." Dot. I still love him. Didn't know what a clitoris was. Called it Fanny Bean. The fanciest of beans. My ex was the oldest of 6. We had been dating for about a week. Both 20. I commented, "You have wide hips for a man." He replies, "It's from carrying children." I was totally baffled till his youngest brother walked in and he picked him up and held him to the side. Rested on his hip. As you do with toddlers. I had to sit him down and explain that you don't get wide hips from literally carrying children around. He wasn't joking. Cause that's pretty damn funny. She was a pretty hardline vegan and proceeded to order gelato for dessert. I had a vegan customer order a Caesar salad from me. I told him we used old-fashioned Caesar dressing. So it had sardines and wasn't vegan. He told me that sardines are mythical like mermaids. K. Enjoy your mythical salad. Edit. I meant anchovies. I am dumb also. Edit 2. The Reckoning. This guy was for sure not trolling me. It was a small town. I knew about him long before I had that run-in. He was slightly smarter than the regular we had there who squeezed his bagel to get the gluten out. When I asked him if he wanted an apple, he said yes. So I pulled one out of the fridge and handed it to him. He looked confused and asked me to slice it for him because he'd never eaten an apple whole before and wasn't sure how. He was 27. When he tried to make me feel like an idiot for contradicting his statement that there are two 12s on a clock. Did the whole annoyed. Have you even ever looked at a clock? Bread? There is a 12 at the top and a 12 at the bottom. I just stared at him and let it slowly sink in. This was last week and I've been married to this idiot for 3 years. He was getting his license renewed and they asked him if he wanted to be an organ donor. He said no. When I asked why, he told me it was because he didn't want the government to come knocking for any of his organs when he still needed them. He really thought that becoming an organ donor meant that at any time his organs could be taken. When she stated that an onion turns black after being cut because it's absorbing toxins from the air. When he didn't know the difference between an olive and a grape. I'm 10 hours late to the show. But my girlfriend thought leg day was a national holiday. I still laugh at that one. About to propose to her. Actually. She thought that Alaska was actually to the southwest of the contiguous US because on the map it is right there next to Hawaii. She threw a butter knife at a light bulb in a crowded restaurant because she didn't like that it was flickering.